witchcraft.
I think we do that every single time when someone says you are live. It's like,
I know.
All right. So as usual, you know, everybody has to get alerted and, you know, come join the party.
Yes.
But this is pre-recorded, not pre-recorded. It is recorded so people can watch it at a later date. So we are live, so we still can, you know, finagle a bagel.
So why don't we tell them what we're drinking? Because we forgot to do that last time.
Yes, we did. What are you drinking?
Let's cover up the sales sign. It is Sweet Red from Ramate.
You mean it sounds so
fancy? Beautiful.
I am drinking. I don't have the bottle with me, but this is what it looks like in my very witchy glass here. I am drinking a Sweet Red as well, but it's all I can tell you on the front cover of the bottle was there was like a vintage 50s pinup girl.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm drinking sexy wine. Let's just call it that, sexy sweet.
Yeah. Something like that.
So it's been a hot minute.
It has.
Since Justin made a video. Because you don't make videos the way you used to.
No, I know.
So it is a gem, especially to have you this month, because of the topic that we are about to discuss. Now, hey, Snowball! Snowball the Manifesting Witch is here. So,
hello.
You know, how do I put this? We decided to do Hoodoo and Voodoo in December for a couple different reasons. First and foremost, I think that it is one of the biggest misjudged practices and religions. And Justin, as well as myself, is kind of new to drawing in bits and pieces of Hoodoo and Voodoo into our practice.
Yes.
We're still studying it and learning it, but it's one of those really, really big, multifaceted areas that a lot of witches, I think, practice, but don't realize that they're practicing, if that makes any sense. Like, I think that a lot of us eclectic witches, especially, we draw in Hoodoo and don't even realize we're drawing in Hoodoo. So we're going to talk about, first of all, let's start off, what is Hoodoo? What is Voodoo? And is there a difference? Because I think that a lot of us growing up, we see it in Hollywood, in movies. You know, what's the difference between Hoodoo and Voodoo? Ain't it the same shit? Well, contrary to popular belief, it is not the same shit. And you have different layers of Hoodoo because you have Hoodoo and you also have Louisiana Hoodoo, which are part of the same thing but different. So let's start off talking about Hoodoo. So what is Hoodoo? So Hoodoo, the best way to say it, and yes, I do have notes because I didn't want to forget anything, is the product of the transatlantic slave trade. Voodoo is not. So you begin to ask yourself, like, hey, what's the transatlantic slave trade? And shit, why is Voodoo not Hoodoo? And why is Hoodoo not Voodoo? Like, what? Hello? So Voodoo is more so, the easiest way to put this is Voodoo is more so of a religion, where Hoodoo is a practice.
Right.
Now, when we go into the transatlantic slave trade, hey, Angie, when we get into the transatlantic slave trade and we get into how that was kind of brought from Africa over to our mainland as America, we look at Louisiana Hoodoo. And Justin and I were just talking about this before we went live here about, you know, what is the difference between Louisiana Hoodoo and Hoodoo? Well, the way we kind of look at it, the easiest way to put it is Louisiana hoodoo and the grounds of Louisiana is kind of what Plymouth is to the Pilgrims. It's kind of that landing spot, that root work. What was the other thing, Justin, that you said as a New York station?
Well, I was talking about as far as like the transatlantic slave trade, like there's a lot of stuff that says like Louisiana was kind of like Grand Central Station for slave trade. Like it was very big there.
Right. So now when you think of transatlantic slave trade, just the name itself to most Americans, at least I would hope so. When you think of transatlantic slave trade, it kind of makes you go, ugh, like that's got to be horrible. I mean, think about what those words mean. And you know, me and Justin are two white people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, but with someone who Justin and I, and God, I would hope most Americans can think of those words and think to themselves like, okay, exactly, slave trade. You know, it has that just, that horrible connotation to it, like the stuff they must have gone through. And Justin, I'll let you talk a little bit about your thoughts on spirituality coming across a transatlantic slave trade. When you think of that and think that they kept it alive all the way to America, what is your thought, your head noise?
I mean, for me, that's, I don't even know where to start. So I just feel like, for one, I never really looked into hoodoo or voodoo or knew anything about it, because basically of all like the mainstream representation of it has just been so negative. And I didn't even realize until later on, you know, after losing loved ones, that a big part of hoodoo is like your ancestors and respecting your ancestors and ancestral veneration. And, you know, hoodoo was born out of the necessity for these people who were being terrorized, murdered, and enslaved, for them to be able to hold on to their power, their identity, their lineage, their power, you know, and they were able to hold on to it through all of these things that had happened to them for hundreds of years. And I don't know, it's just amazing. I every time I read anything about hoodoo, I'm just amazed at the resilience. It's just, it's amazing to me.
I mean, to carry on something that was that important to you.
Yes.
I mean, you were leaving your homeland, leaving your house, your land, your everything that you believed in, and going across seas to God only knows who knows, and to what was to be ahead. You and your family were torn apart from your family, and the one thing you held on to was your practice, was your spirituality. Now, coming over to, they stopped at different locations, and of course, you know, Haiti and all that kind of stuff. But let's talk about America. When you come to America at that time, the things that were going on, you had to practice your craft, but you had to hide it. So one way that they hid their practice was within Christianity. Not to say that Christianity was not originally a root part of their spirituality, but they used that to mask it.
Right.
They drew in, of course, you know, it held viability in their practice, but they used it as oh yes, we're Christians. Because if they knew that they were doing magic and practicing things that were anti-Christian, of course they would have been hung. So of course they masked it with that hard Christianity, but they did root it, they did weave it into their workings, which makes hoodoo. You can't have hoodoo without Christianity. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah, it's such a close, like, it's so entangled with, you know, African culture and spirituality and Native Americans and the European influences. Like, there's just it's so vast, and it's so personal, you know, for each family and lineage. And it's just, it's insane. It's beautiful, but it's, you know, it's something that's so beautiful, born out of such horrifying circumstances of what happened to these people just because of the color of their skin.
Right. You know, so it's something that in of itself has power, and has so much power that you have to be very careful when it comes to hoodoo, and even voodoo for that matter. Now let's talk about the difference between the two. Now I said hoodoo is a practice, where voodoo is a religion.
Yeah.
Because they do entangle a little bit, but they are two completely different things. Now there's one channel that I specifically adore that I watch, and anybody who is interested in learning a lot about hoodoo and voodoo and the difference, and specifically hoodoo, is Crescent Conjurer. It's an amazing
So
YouTube
good.
channel. Sen Elias is the owner of Crescent City Conjure in Louisiana. It's a shop in Louisiana, but he has a YouTube channel as well. And he really sits down with us and talks about hoodoo and how to practice it. And in a sense where he's not exiling any religion, any race, any ethnicity, any culture. He's saying all cultures are welcome. However, you have to have the appreciation, the cultural appreciation for what hoodoo is and where it came from. And if you can do your studies and you can dig deep and ground your feet into that, you're welcome to practice to hoodoo. And I think that that's accurate. I think for any kind of practice, you can't just call yourself, I'm a witch who practices a little bit of hoodoo without having taken time to read, to learn, to study where it came from. Because if you don't, what exactly are you doing? You're not being culturally appropriate. And that's where cultural appropriation comes in hand. Now, the two get kind of twisted and tied together. People mistaking, cultural appropriation for cultural appreciation, thinking that, us white folk are not allowed, like it's a like a sorority, we're not allowed to practice hoodoo. And that in Sen Elias at Crescent City Conjure, he makes that very clear in many of his videos. Any culture can practice this. However, you have to have that respect and that honor for that in which it came from. Because if you don't, it ain't going to work for you anyway. So you might as well, the gods and goddesses are not going to aid you if you don't have that respect. So you might as well anyway learn it before you try to do it. So as far as voodoo is concerned, voodoo, like I said, is religion. It is a religion from the Lua. And that is something that is not even tied to hoodoo, but they intertwine because they do bridge a gap somewhere in between. A lot of Haitian voodoo is from the Larisha, and that's something that is also the foundation, the root work of the two. So in Crescent City Conjure, in one of his many videos to kind of define the whole entire thing, the way he kind of put together a definition of hoodoo, because it's really hard to define. You really kind of can't. He said hoodoo and voodoo is like a big ship with a lot of sails, but no foundation to anchor the sails on. Because if you think about it, it has entwined and enveloped and developed as time has gone on. And then you have Louisiana hoodoo, and even the Native Americans have taken hoodoo and put it into their practice because it's a form of folk magic. And they've taken it and put it into their practices. Us white folk, us white Americans have taken and put it in and entwined into our Wicca or our just witchcraft or what traditional witchcraft, whatever it is that we practice. And it has rooted in so many different traditions that it has. It doesn't have that much of a definition anymore.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like you can look at like an event or a time frame, but it's like you're saying, hoodoo is really just so personal to each family, to each way it's passed down, to how things are done and practiced. Like so much of hoodoo is, word of mouth, parent to child, and that type of relationship that just keeps continuing on and on and on and on and on. But I do think there's a lot of people who come, start reading about hoodoo and even voodoo and just want to come in and, open a book and say, okay, well, I'm a hoodoo practitioner and that's what it is. And that,
Right.
but you know, I feel like a lot of society is like that with everything. Like, a lot of people just don't want to put in the work. They just want to get results. But
Right.
this isn't, you know, this is something that was born out of, you know, a genocide, if you want to call it that. Like murder, you know, hundreds of years of enslavement of people for literally no reason. And you just can't approach it that way.
Right. And, you know, a lot of people see The Skeleton Key, which is a really big movie, and say, okay, I'm going to open a book now that I've watched Skeleton Key, and I'm going to become a hoodoo, you know, practitioner. We don't even call ourselves hoodoo practitioners. Yes, I put hoodoo into my craft, but I am not a hoodoo practitioner at all.
No, not even close.
Now,
you know, the thing is, and I think the reason we wanted to talk about it is just because, like, we never talked about hoodoo before, ever. Like,
no.
even not just on Wine and Witchcraft, but I mean, just in general, ever. It never came up in any one of our practices. And it's like the more you read about it and the more you read these stories and just everything that went into hoodoo and just, you know, the history of our country in particular with people of color, there's a draw to it for both of us that you just can't ignore. You can't, you know,
No.
it's just.
And I think that for a lot of people, that's the draw to witchcraft in general, as of recent, is they're curious as to what else is out there as far as religion or spirituality. You know, people who are Buddhist or Christian or Catholic, you know, they're kind of like, okay, I was brought this way. I want to see what exactly is witchcraft. Now, this is what I've been told my whole life, but let me actually see what actually it is. You know, so a lot of people are leaning towards other spiritualities, and
Yeah.
I think for many of us, hoodoo and voodoo, you know, you think of voodoo dolls, oh, that's evil. You know, it's kind of one of those things where a lot of people have this negative evil connotation in their head as far as hoodoo and voodoo is concerned, and it's not even anything like that.
No, but you know, it's like it's the demonization of people of color. Like that's what it is. They use their spirituality and, you know, what they use to hold on to their identity and their ancestral magic, and all of that is born out of this. And you know, there are people who subconsciously and purposefully want to demonize that because it demonizes people of color. And I mean, we see that. Show me one good movie that talks about hoodoo. I
Right.
don't know one. You know, it's always born in something that seems horrific. You
That's
know,
true.
and
That is very true. There isn't any movies that are, you know, making hoodoo or voodoo. I mean, there's documentaries, and I've watched quite a few documentaries that were absolutely amazing. There was one, I can't remember the name of it, but I cried. It was so good. It was so fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, it's voodoo and hoodoo, I think, at least for me, is a way of empowering yourself to be more of an enhancing person or an enhanceable person. You know, it's a way to enhance yourself and to bring yourself grounded back down into the foundations of life. What life is, you know, you're born and you die. What happens in between is all up to you, and how you honor the earth that you walk upon, how you honor the gods that walk with you, your ancestors that walk side by side or behind you or in front of you. It's how you spend that time in between, enhancing yourself to be a better soul before you die.
Yeah, and it's all about, you know, your ancestors and what they went through and their history and how that affects you and how it leads you and pushes you forward. You know, there's so much honor in that. It's beautiful. And let me just preface this was just saying, because this can sometimes be a touchy subject. We're not saying we're teaching anybody or trying to whatever. We're just having a conversation about what we've learned and like our impressions and our feelings basically about it.
Right. And that's the thing is, we're two white folk here sitting here
Right.
talking about hoodoo and voodoo. We are in no way experts. We're just people who have incorporated hoodoo and or voodoo into our practice over the past year. And we've done a lot of studying. And I know the way I view Justin's practice is it is a Christian kind of entwined with hoodoo magic, touch a smidge of Wicca if it was like salt and pepper in there. He's definitely eclectic, but his roots still come in that Bible, come in that old folk magic,
Yeah.
that folk magic, that deals with walking side by side with those who came before you. I do too, but not as much as Justin does. And that's why I was saying that it's an honor to have him, especially in this show. Because like we talked about, the shows to come for the next year may not always have Justin and I, because our lives are absolutely hectic. So I have no basis, no foundation in Christianity at all. I was not brought up with any religion. My parents never brought me to church. They weren't Christians. They weren't Catholics. They weren't anything. They were agnostic. They were just, religion is something I don't bother with. So for me, the Bible makes absolutely no sense. I've cracked it open just to see what it's all about, and I have no fucking clue what the hell they're saying. It's boring to me. I don't get it. I have gone to church with friends throughout my teenage years and even into my 30s, and I've sat there and really paid attention and tried to understand what the fuck is going on. And while the people are so sweet and so warm and welcoming in a place where I felt safe, I felt wanted, I couldn't connect. There was no connection to what was being done in those four walls of that church. So I knew Christianity wasn't for me, but it is a beautiful thing. I'm not gonna doubt that, because it totally is. But it's definitely not my cup of tea. Now Justin has a very different take, as he grew up in a Christian background.
I mean, for me, it's like I've had struggles just in general about spirituality and religion and the whole 9 yards. And the more I read into hoodoo and just, had a glimmer into the actual practice itself, I don't know, there was something about it that just made me feel like I got permission to practice what made me feel comfortable practicing, and adding those Christian figures and that aspect into my practice and what I do, and the way I fix candles and the way I do my workings and praying and, using the rosary and, all these things that I felt like they couldn't go together, because I haven't been around anybody who does those things. And this just kind of made me feel like, hey, this is normal. Not saying I'm not doing hoodoo. It looks like hoodoo and there's elements there, but it is still, very much witchcraft. But those hoodoo elements are there, and tying in those Christian influences, those European influences into it. It makes me feel like I'm doing what's right for me and works for me.
Right. So, for me, I think when Justin came in and said, okay, I'm looking at this hoodoo thing, and I started looking into it, I said, well, that, and some of that, and a little bit of that, I've already been doing. And I'm like, well, shit, I've already been adding hoodoo into my practice, but had no idea I was doing so.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where some witches might be adding in, hoodoo and not even realizing it. Now, as far as what Justin was saying with fixed candles, that is a hoodoo term. So most of us are familiar with 7-day religious candles, right? With Jesus in the front, or Mary, or you can find them at Walmart or dollar stores, or those tall 7-day. I think I have some over there. You got one, Justin, to show?
Yeah.
7-day candles that are very tall and skinny. Yeah, there's Justin's.
This is my Guadalupe candle.
Okay, so we're familiar with this. We've seen it in stores. Now, when you see that and don't know anything about hoodoo and voodoo, oh, that's beautiful. That really is pretty. That is gorgeous. When you see those, you may think, oh, this is Catholics or Christian. But contrary, it is not. Now, we talked earlier in the show about how, those brought over in the transatlantic slave trade try to keep their practice hidden by giving it this big, overly Christian feel. Well, they did so by taking candles such as that and fixing them. Now, the whole word fixing kind of goes into it. Now, what they would do is they'd poke holes in the top of it and they'd shove herbs down in there that they blessed or asked the root spirits of those plants to work their magic, and they would poke holes and shove those herbs down there. Oils, same thing. They would ask the Lua or the Larisha to bless those and stick them down in there. Roots and herbs and all sorts of things they'd shove down in there. A little bit of, modern day today, a little bit of glitter, a little bit of whatever they got going on there, some wax and some seeds and whatnot, and that would be a fixed candle. That would be basically a Christian candle, but it was practiced in hoodoo because it was fixed. It was fixed from being Christian to be in the hoodoo or voodoo. So, that's what fixed means. They're going to fix a candle to work for their needs. Now, I have a lot of fixed candles here that I get from various hoodoo shops that I add into my practice. Now, many people have heard of road opener candles or road opener spells. I've got a couple of those, but those 7-day candles are not just for the everyday Catholic Christian. They are for a lot of hoodoo and voodoo practitioners.
Yeah.
So there's that, hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, I was just thinking, right? I don't have any fixed candles right now, but
I do. Let me pull one out here. I'll give you an example.
I've never bought a fixed. No, I have bought one fixed candle. I normally fix them myself.
And I do. I have some blank ones that I will fix myself. But this one, as an example, is the Come to Me candle. Now, this is a love spell, but if you look at the top of it, it's got glitter and there's some herbs in there. And you can tell it's been tampered with because it has been fixed. So they stick a skewer right down in there, stick some herbs, some oils in there, and then put some glitter and some herbs and stuff at the top. And of course, the spell or prayer, as it were, is right there on the front. So this isn't half Spanish, half English, because I get mine from a Spanish botanica. And the reason why I do so is because they've been there for many, many years. And I've had 2 of their candles burning with the enchantments, and they have more than I could have imagined. It's a wise old woman who fixes these candles and blesses them. They come into their shop just as colored candles, and she fixes them and sticks skewers in them and pokes them and fixes them and then puts them for sale. This is a 7x7 fixed candle. This is against all. So it's all negativity. It'll bring you the opposite of all the bad things. And of course, this is fixed. You can see those wax cubes at the top, the herbs, the oils, all sorts of glitter and things going on there. That is a fixed candle. So 7x7. So just as an example, these are fixed voodoo candles. And a lot of people in the Hispanic culture practice hoodoo as well, but they call it a little bit of something different. But anyway, just thought I'd share what a fixed candle is. So, Amber, I think you answered your question. What's the difference between hoodoo and voodoo? As well, Amber, you came a little bit later in the show, and I think Justin explained it very, very easily there. Hoodoo is a spirituality, or practice is voodoo is a religion. So yeah, so hoodoo is more of a practice. Voodoo is more of a spirituality, right? So if you think of it this way, hoodoo is like practicing witchcraft, where voodoo is like going to church.
Or voodoo is Wicca and hoodoo is witchcraft.
There you go. That's actually a really, really good way of looking at it.
Snowball the Manifesting Witch. It's her birthday. Happy birthday to you.
I forgot. No, I didn't forget, but I forgot. I totally had in mind, like, I'm gonna totally gonna wish her happy birthday, but I completely like forgot. Okay. Yes, and I knew that because she told me like a month ago when I set the date. She's like, "Bitch, it's the birthday," and I'm like, "Bitch, we're gonna call you out." So
we're gonna party like it's your birthday. Sip a Bacardi like it's your birthday.
So happy birthday, love. I hope you're having a beautiful, wonderful, awesome day. My day has been a roller coaster ride. I took off today just to do this show. And it's been a shit show since I woke up. So, but this was the highlight of my day. I couldn't wait. I'm like, come on, 9 o'clock. Come on, 9 o'clock. I just want to do my damn show. I knew it was going to be so much fun. I couldn't wait. I was like, So I got my nails did today. Aren't they pretty? So I got my nails did, right? And do you see it? Do you see the difference? Oh, so this one is the original. This one is the one that broke. So I got home.
Why did they make it look like that?
Okay, let me explain this bullshit, right? So I got home. I mean, they're gorgeous. They came out really, really well. But I got home and I wait, what finger was it? It was this finger. I went to go open up the cat food and I opened up the little tab like a soda can, and this completely snapped off. And so I called them. I'm like, motherfuckers, I opened up some cat food and my fucking nail broke. Like, what the hell? So they're like, well, come in, we fix. You come in 3:30, we fix. I'm like, all right, bitches, you better fix my shit. So I go in there at 3:30. First of all, I had 20 minutes after I made an appointment to come in at 3:30 to get my nail fixed. And they made it look downsy.
I'm so done. First of all, you do an Asian accent, and then you say downsy, we're canceled. And we're talking about Hoodoo.
So this is the original. It's supposed to be nice and thin, slim, and sparkly, and they gave it like I don't know what is this? What is this? I'm not sure. So first of all, they didn't put enough glitter nail polish on it. First of all, there's like a layer. You're missing a layer. And second of all, I don't know what's wrong with it, but it does not look like the original.
It doesn't look like that.
But you know what?
I'm
like, whatever. I'm like, what? It's one finger. I'm like, whatever. So I'm just gonna live with it. I'm gonna deal with it. When I get my nails filled the next time, I got a gift card for Christmas. My son got me a gift card because he knows that I go to this one specific nail salon. And normally, yes, they do a fantastic job. But after I get my nails filled, the next time I get them filled, I'm changing nail salons. I'm sorry. You can't give me a downsy finger and call it a day. It doesn't work with me.
I gotta go.
Oh shit. Okay, anyway, back to the story. That's why my day was kind of like, what the fuck? So back to what we're talking about, voodoo and hoodoo. Now, for Yule, I decided that I was going to buy Justin the hoodoo tattoo. The reason why I did this was because I know he was going to buy it like 6 months to a year ago, and it was out of stock. So he's like, fuck it, whatever, it's out of stock. Maybe I'm not meant to have it. I won't buy it. So he just kind of forgot about it, went on his way, whatever. And then when Yule came around, I had seen that it came up in my like searched items or something. And I was like, oh, look, it's back in stock. I'm like, I don't think he ever bought this. I think he just kind of gave up on buying it. So I'm like, I'm going to buy it. So I bought it for him for Yule. And Justin, I'll take it from there. You can explain how
she bought this for me. So let me just say, I am obsessed with this deck. Now, again, I've only had it for 3 days. So don't try to test me on all the ins and outs of this deck. But I will say, first impressions, I'm really impressed. So I like that, like the first part of this book talks about the origins of Hoodoo, what Hoodoo is, and all of its influences. And this is like a full-size guidebook here. Like, It's a full fucking book. And they go into so much detail and stick so true to like what hoodoo is. You have your card, your meaning, your plant, a Bible verse. It tells you all about a story about the character on the card, not the meaning, the actual character and what is going on. And then it tells you the meaning, what things to think about when this card comes up in different situations. So this is like so thorough. I love this. Like if you need an introduction to hoodoo or learn about hoodoo culture and signs and symbols and that kind of thing, this is like, it appears to be really awesome. And then these cards are just so pretty.
They're very vintage, old looking. Like you found them like lying on the floor of an attic somewhere in a house in Louisiana. That's what that reminds me of.
They really do. They're so pretty. I don't know how to hold a card because I'm a fucking
That looks like, is that a lynx? What is that? A cheetah? What is that?
I don't know what it is. I have to look in the book. Maybe a panther? Sons of Sticks. So it's really, I really enjoy it. And then these are the backs of the cards.
See, I like the backs. That's something right there. Now it shows all over the United States where voodoo or hoodoo had hit, from Florida all the way up to the middle of the country there. That I thought was a beautiful thing. Just show where it landed in America. I thought that was awesome. Now
it does talk about reverse, because I know we've talked about reverse meanings like forever with tarot. And so it says if you use reverse, that's fine. Reverse is usually the negative of whatever the positive was. But she was saying, honestly, you know, a card's meaning changes based on the question you ask or the surrounding cards. You know, one card could talk about, you know, dullness or whatever, which could be very positive, unless you're asking how somebody, you know, somebody's feelings about you, then of course that would be a negative thing. So I just love it. And these are just, it's so cool. And they talk about different things for hoodoo, like this card specifically. I actually sent a picture to Brittany, and in there it talks about, you know, being faithful. But the negative, the reverse of this card is cheaters. And it talks about how people used to add menstrual blood or semen into food to keep, that they were going to feed their spouse to keep them from cheating. I didn't know that, but okay. So I just found this to be very resourceful. She got it off Amazon.
Yep, I got it on Amazon. But it got to stop for quite a bit there.
Yeah.
So it is a very, very popular deck, and I'm guessing it's because it does hoodoo justice.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you really, really want to learn some roots and get your feet wet in hoodoo, Crescent City Conjurer here on YouTube is going to be an amazing channel for you guys to watch. In the chat here.
What? What are you doing?
I'm typing. Shit. Crescent City Conjurer.
I didn't even type that. Why does it say I typed that?
Because you did.
I did not type that.
You didn't?
No, type something.
All right, so the owner and the operator of the shop of Crescent City Conjurer and the YouTube channel is Sen Elias.
See?
Oh yeah, that's weird. So you did. So Sen Elias is the guy who talks in that channel. I don't know why that does that, but it does. To get your feet wet and learn the roots of hoodoo and voodoo. Now, let's talk about Hollywood for a second. Who are you talking to, your cat?
Yeah, I was looking at something over here. Hold on. Nothing but a big ass fat ass bitch. I have another book, but I don't know where the fuck it is.
You have roots, sticks, stones, and bones, right?
I just figured I'd show a few books that I had since, you know, we're talking about it. So Voodoo spell book.
Yeah.
I have that one.
Then of course,
Crossroads of Conjurer. Yes, I have that one. And then what else do I got here? Old style Conjurer.
Yeah, you have a lot more books than I do.
I wanted this one because there's a big old cock on the front of it. So because I have these.
You have this one too, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
because I have these, I am now officially a Hoodoo master. And the force is with me.
Evidently, because I'm sitting here trying to talk on a live show.
Oh my God.
And Grogu decided to come in.
That's Baby Yoda.
Yeah, Baby Yoda.
That's a very weird question. What does his genitals look like? I'm drunk. Okay, this is supposed to be. We can't. Okay, I'm just saying this. We can't. We have to stop with. We can't. We have to just. We can't. Wine and Witchcraft has gotten too serious. I need to get drunk.
So this little Baby Yoda here, Grogu,
what was that? $400
was very expensive. Yes.
How much was that fucking thing?
I don't think you want to know.
I want to know. Private message me. I want to know right now in the private chat.
He comes to life. He's like the real animatronic that Disney used. So he's quite expensive, but Santa dropped him under our tree.
Santa dropped some coal under my tree.
So.
Okay. Does it have legs?
Yeah.
Oh God, that's horrifying.
Anyway, I'll put him down here. Okay, Baby Yoda, stop it. Yeah, we're a Star Wars family, and of course, a Mandalorian family. So, as you can,
I've never seen the show.
You would probably fall in love. So, you know what? It's probably best if you don't, because you get addicted. You probably call into work just so you can watch it.
How many seasons are there?
Shit. I think 2 or 3 of The Mandalorian. Okay. It's supposed to take place right after Luke kills Darth Vader, like in the movie series.
Uh-huh.
So The Mandalorian takes place in that gap between right when he kills his dad and then where the Star Wars saga takes over. Anyway, so moving on. What were you saying about Hoodoo and Voodoo? You were talking about Wine and Witchcraft getting too serious. I agree. Party! Ooh, 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 ooh.
I feel like we're starting to be too. Hello.
How are you today? My name is Brittany. Nice to meet you. Let's talk about race. Let's get into it. I've gone to YouTube channels that say that I have no right to practice hoodoo because I'm a white chick. I have no right. You can only practice hoodoo or voodoo if you're black.
Here's the thing. I don't know what the consensus is. on that. Honestly, I don't, because I have seen
I mean,
so many
we're talking
people.
now at this point, we're talking cultural appropriation, correct? You have no right. If you're a white chick, you can't, if you are any other descent besides African American, you cannot practice hoodoo, you cannot practice voodoo. Bye-bye.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Wow, that escalated really quickly. Okay, first of all, that's not cultural appropriation. Let's start there. Number two, okay, voodoo should only be practiced by those who are initiated. No one should be going to practice voodoo if you have not been initiated by a priest or know a priest, whatever. Hoodoo, on the other hand, from what I have read and seen, the reviews are mixed. Some people feel like anybody can practice it, and others feel like you shouldn't be able to. But I don't know what the right thing is on that. You know, I will never call myself a hoodoo practitioner or try to teach hoodoo, because I personally don't feel like that's my place. But I think everything throughout time, at some point, all of our paths have crossed, regardless of skin color.
Right.
You know, it's our skin color isn't the problem. It's our hearts and our heads that are the problem. And we have to move forward. And people that are white have to take a big role in making those things right.
Right.
So it's like moving forward and really understanding that we have to come together and be willing to do that. But we also have to understand that, you know, this country has not truly healed. And because of that, a lot of people of color feel disenfranchised, unappreciated. And, you know, with, you know, the police killing them, that kind of just cements the way that they feel. So when you come for something that they, you know, that's the thing. If you're protecting this, I'm just holding this book as like a representation of your spirituality and the spirituality that your ancestors ate shit out and lived and breathed through all of this enslavement. And then now these white motherfuckers want to come through and take what my family had to fight to keep all these years. I mean, yeah, I'd be pissed. I would not, don't know that I'd be very welcome to that either.
But if you are a white person that says to a black person, I want to add hoodoo into my practice. I don't know much about it, but I want to learn. Can you teach everything you know? That is culture appreciation.
I agree.
You want to learn. You want to appreciate where this came from. And I don't think there should be a problem with an Hispanic or a Chinese or a white person or an Indian person or a European person learning the ways of the ancestors of those people. If you are willing to sit, be quiet, learn, study, and use it. When you use hoodoo in your practice, use it in a way that you are saying, you know what, I thank you for, you know, talking to the gods and goddesses. I thank you for everything that you've done, for everything you've gone through. I'm honoring you. That, I think, is different from just saying, bitch, I need some gree because I didn't study for no test and I want to pass this science test. So give me some gree so I can learn how to do this shit and pass this test. It don't work that way. You still have to do the work. And even if you do a working, and even if you carry gree or do whatever you need to do, you still and that even goes in witchcraft, you still have to do the physical work. The spiritual work is something that you bring in and bring with you and help to aid you, but it's not something that's like, you know, an instant fixed for life. You still have to live life, but you can help make it easier when you have the help of those who came before you. And I think that people get confused as to how that whole entire thing works. Now, when I talk about cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation, that's kind of what I meant. Like when you come in here and like, I just want to do this shit because it looks cool as skeleton key. That's not what we're talking about here. all,
Right.
period. You know, when you want to use and abuse something because you think it belongs to you. And it doesn't just go with hoodoo and voodoo. It can go with anything. It can go with, you know, old folk magic, Celtic magic, anything from ancestors that came way before we were here. You know, you want to just use and abuse it. I mean, that can be anything. But I mean, I agree with this country the way it is. There was a documentary that I watched, and it brought me to tears. And God, I wish I could remember the name of it. I should have investigated the name of it before we started this live. But the very opening scene shows the world, and it shows how we all came from the same continent. We all came from Africa. And then as the world morphed and changed and the continental plates shifted, you got the other continents that we know today. But we all started on one plate, on one tectonic plate. And the fact that shows that we're not all that different. Just because our skin color is different doesn't mean that we're different human beings of some kind of weird, different, like alien species. We're all humans trying to get through the same thing, you know? But the problem is that when those plates shifted and they moved, and this is what they talk about in the documentary, when they shifted and they moved, the respect for one another shifted and moved. And that's what we're dealt with today. And that, I think, is sad because a lot of people don't realize that the Earth actually started out as one big, massive land plate. But
well, the thing is, the big issue here is culture. And the fact of the matter is white Americans don't have culture. We don't have culture.
Absolutely. You're 100% right.
The only culture we really have is, I wouldn't even know if I would call this a culture necessarily, but it's set on freedom. Like that could be maybe a culture, but I don't even think that really is a culture. I think more so you find culture is usually derivative of a certain race or group of people who have been disenfranchised over extended periods of time, who have to immortalize certain practices, rites, rituals, whether it be religious or just, you know, everyday things that people hold on to, because that's the only way that they can identify themselves and keep true to who they once were before they were treated in such a manner. So like, that's why you have people like African Americans who hold on to what is called Black culture, or you have Jewish people who, yes, while they are founded in their religion, they have culture. And I'm not even referring to the Holocaust. I'm referring to, you know, if you look at biblical things of, you know, traveling 40 years and all of those things that I don't know if everyone knows about. But culture is usually derivative from people who have experienced real hard loss over extended period of time. That's why you have like gay culture and all of these things, because this group of people feels a certain way, so they have to hold on to this. So, you know, it's like some people of color will feel like, no, white people shouldn't practice hoodoo if they practice hoodoo or whatever, because that's just, for me, that's my ancestors. And then there's others who feel like, no, it should. I want the story of my ancestors and what this all is. I want anyone to be able to see that and practice that. I don't know that there's ever going to be a true consensus because everyone's experience is different. You know, humankind has fucked up this world.
I agree.
In a lot of ways, because
I agree.
You know, we have to see color, because color matters, because color tells a story for people of who they are and where they've been. And once we can all embrace those stories and those experiences, then we can try to heal and try to move forward. You know, slavery wasn't that long ago, hundreds of years ago. I mean, wasn't even that long ago, women couldn't even vote. So, I mean, the progression is slow and not that far back. So, you know, I think it all goes together when you're talking about, you know, those kind of practices.
Right. But no, I mean, I think that's a really, really good way to put it. Better obviously articulated than I could, but I think that, you know, we all think, I mean, I know for me as being, you know, brought up in Boston, Massachusetts, I was born in Weymouth, Massachusetts. I mean, I'm a Massachusetts girl, you know, I'm born in the Northeast. So that's how I was brought up. I was brought up in the woods and in nature, and also a little bit of city life and stuff like that. So I was brought up a certain way. Justin was born and raised down here in Florida. We have completely different ways of life. He's brought up in a tropical peninsula, very, very much different from Massachusetts, the completely polar opposites. Yet we're two white people living life pretty much on the same tracks. But it goes to show that when I was brought up, I thought that all Black people came from Africa. Like, even like, as 6-year-old, I'm like, so how long have you lived here? And they're like, my whole life. And I'm like, oh, you didn't just come from Africa?
I am so done.
I'm talking about being a naive child. I'm being serious. Yeah. That is what naive young white children think. We don't know, and we're brought up with this whole entire, culture that we're not educated as to the transatlantic slave trade. To be completely honest with you, wasn't even in my history book. When I went through history all through high school, the transatlantic slave trade was never even in my history. Something that should have been there to teach me was never even there.
Well, here's the thing about American history. White people, not all white people. So when I say white people, I don't mean every white person, but at the same time, it kind of is, including myself. You have to understand the fact that what happened wasn't our fault specifically for you or me, but it's not about that. It's about the fact that we are here now. So in some ways, we have to make the efforts to, not right those wrongs, but help bridge that gap. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at history, for me, I don't know about anybody else, but American history was just a way to glorify Abraham Lincoln and the freedom of the slaves.
Yes.
We didn't really hear in depth. To me, we get an account of slavery from the white person's perspective, not from the people who are actually enslaved. That's my opinion. And that's the problem. You enslave these people, you free them, and then they're not even the ones telling the story. Their ancestors, their children, their great-great-great-grandchildren aren't even the ones telling their story. It's the white man who's telling their story for them. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like a constant robbing of their own experience that they were forced into to begin with.
Right. But it just goes to show, like, I remember being, 10 years old and finding out some more history of the way things should be, because I was innocent, young, naive, little girl growing up in Boston, finding out some of the history behind, because they do go into a little bit of history in the textbooks, the history behind, African Americans, and going, oh my God, wow. Like, why did my parents not tell me this? Like, honestly, that's what I thought. I was like, why did my parents allow me to believe this? So it's kind of one of those things. I think it's my parents' fault, but I'm saying that if you're going to write a history book, and this still annoys me, if you're going to write a history book for yes, primarily most of my school, middle school and high school was white kids. Yes, but there were still some Asians, some African Americans, some Hispanic. So why are you only going to teach white history? Explain that to me. Like, I don't understand to this day. I'm almost 40. I'm 39 years old. Why did you not teach me? And why am I at 38, 39, almost 40 years old, having to almost feel like I'm opening up a freaking history book again, but learning it for myself and writing the history book myself to learn this stuff? Why did you not tell me what the transatlantic slave trade was? Why?
Why do we celebrate Thanksgiving? Why do we ignore the fact that we murdered the native people of this land? Not us specifically, but someone's ancestors did. The fact that we assimilated their children when they refused to give up their land into, European culture. I mean, there's so many documentaries on Amazon Prime and on Netflix about how the American government would go into these native tribes and offer the parents money, and sometimes not even offer the money, just come in with military and steal their children. They would have schools just for Native American children. They would cut their hair, not let them wear their tribal gown, make them wear European, give them European names, and assimilate them into white culture.
Yeah.
And the history in this country of trying to degrade and enslave people of color, it's astronomical, honestly. It really truly is. It is. It's terrible. It's terrible. And then
I think that's why,
right.
I think that's why a lot of people have a problem with anybody and I'm not just saying about white people, I'm talking about anybody. I mean, I buy from a Latin botanica. That's where these come from a Spanish, because they practice hoodoo, voodoo, and witchcraft in this botanica. But I love their candles. I love the old lady who makes them. But I think that's why people get so angry at these different shops and practitioners and stuff. I mean, it's kind of irritating, but irritating in a way that and I did a video on this. I talked about spiritual waters, Florida water and Kananga water and Rue water and a whole bunch of other waters. And I said, hey guys, I need your help. I implored the help from the community to teach me anything they knew about spiritual waters, because if I was going to use these spiritual waters, I want to do them justice. I want to honor those who, integrated these waters into the spirituality and how they play a part. And, if I got to go buy a Bible and crack it open and start studying and figure out where these Bible verses came from, where they go into hoodoo, I'm going to do it, because I don't think that I should be practicing or even dabbling if I cannot give justice to where it belongs. I mean, I bought a voodoo doll. It's somewhere in my room here. And that the magic on that shit, and Justin will tell you, fucking creeped the fuck out of me. I've used it once, and boy, it worked. Probably more so than I wanted it to. That shit's real. That shit don't play.
No, I know.
So
it's such a complicated matter. It really honestly is.
It is. Now, how do you think, Justin, incorporate hoodoo or voodoo into their practice in a way that's respectful? What do you say? If I was to come to you as a white chick and I say, hey, Justin, I want to study voodoo and hoodoo, I want to incorporate a little bit into my witchcraft, what would you say to me?
As me, as a white person, because I can't speak as a person of color, I would say voodoo is off the table, and hoodoo, you can go buy some books and practice the commercial version of it. That's what I would say.
What if the writer of those books is white?
It depends on what type of education they have, I guess. Because here's the thing: what we're getting in these type of books, these commercialized books, it's good information based on what we know. But families who've been practicing this type of magic for however many years, you're not going to find this knowledge in here. You're not. This is not a family grimoire. You're going to get, as extensive as it may seem to us, people on the outside of these practices and traditions, this is probably barely even scratches the surface. This is probably so diluted to the magic that they do that is it really even true hoodoo? Is it? We don't know, and we may never know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't say that it's for me to decide,
Right.
I agree, Jim, and I agree with, as the saying goes, history is written by the winners, sad but true, being Caucasian, because Caucasian males are the ones in charge. Absolutely. And that has always been the thing.
Yep, she's absolutely right.
Is the issue.
When I was in high school, we learned about slavery and how horrible it was. My teacher didn't sugarcoat. I wish I had that history teacher. I had a guy who was white, who I remember the slavery part came up when it was about like 4 or 5 chapters. I remember seeing it in the book. He grazed over the first 2 and then said, okay, the next day we came in. It was after a weekend. I specifically remember this, but I thought it was bullshit. Flipped into the Revolutionary War. What? So he flipped through the whole thing, did like 2 chapters very briefly, and was like, okay, let's go to chapter 6. It was a Revolutionary War. I'm like, alrighty then. Okay. I guess for me, I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's anybody else who's a white person out there or any other descent. It can be any descent. I don't really matter if it's white or not. That has aggravated the fact that they're so uneducated. Like, I'm aggravated at the fact that I'm almost 40 years old and I'm just now learning about the truth of the American slave trade and just slavery in general. I mean, I got such a whip through fantastically fast, generalization that I'm struggling now to learn the history. I mean, my mother always told me, I had this one friend, I'll never forget it. I was 6, 7, Christina Rogers. I'll never forget her. She was black. Probably is now, but she was black and she was my first black friend. And I adored her. She always made me laugh. She always made me smile. Now, Christina grew up.
Excuse me. Oh my God.
Christina grew up. I'm having like blurry issues. There we go. Christina grew up and not home. Her house was very poorly put together and it wasn't very nice. She didn't have a lot of money and all that kind of good stuff. But she was a fantastic person. And I absolutely adored her. She was my best friend. And she was black. And I got made fun of for hanging out with a black girl. And I said, I don't care. Christina's the bomb. Take it. And my mother pulled me aside one day. I remember we're getting on the bus and she goes, now I want to tell you something. The fact that you're friends with Christina, people make fun of you. And you don't stop being friends with Christina because she needs people like you. And that's the only thing I remember my mother saying. But she basically told me, people will make fun of you for being friends with Christina, but you don't stop being friends with her because she needs people like you. And I had no idea what the hell that meant as a kid. I'm like, okay, Ma, whatever. Let me get on the bus. Because it was, and this was 1989, 1990. People made fun of me for being friends with a black girl. She was my best friend. Christina was, because I didn't care what color her skin was. This girl was as genuine as they come. But that's the thing is that, it's so sad that, people don't know these things. They just, what happens if the roles reversed and it was black people was superior and white people were the ones that weren't superior or whatever it is that they thought that we were or something,
It's because that England and Germany and all these real heavyweight hitters at the time, their influence was so great in the world. And so they assimilated and people wanted to be like them. And you have race issues within, intercultural problems like Filipinos, and even in the black community, you will have people who, the more black you are, a lot of other black people will consider you ugly.
What?
Yes, you didn't know about this?
No. What?
Yes, babies who are born really black, like almost purple, people say they'll call them tar babies. You've never heard this?
No.
Yeah, there was a lady I worked with who was African American, and I didn't know about this, was years ago. But yes, it's always preferable to be lighter in skin tone. The same thing with Filipinos, like Rachel was saying. If you have light, cream-looking skin, people would automatically assume you had money, and if you're dark, like Rachel is, they would assume you work out in the fields, that you're poor.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Like the race issue is deeper than just white, black. It's deeper than that. It goes deeper than that. So they have
their own racial battles within their own race.
Well, yes, but that was inputted because you have people of color who can pass as Caucasian or lighter skin tone that would be more acceptable to the white devil.
What? No, I'm honestly like I did not know that at all.
Yes.
That's messed up.
The race issues in this country are out of control. And white people want to pretend like it's not real.
It's not even a big deal.
I know. And white people are just like, slavery was a long time ago. Yeah, okay, and it really wasn't.
It was,
come on.
it was a long time ago. However, the fact that we're so stupid that we couldn't overcome it in that period of time is sad. Is sad.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
honestly, if I look at, I'd rather hang out with the black folk than the white, because they don't, like, I found in my history of the past at least 10 years, decade of my life, I find that they are more accepting and loving and don't care if I'm Wiccan, pagan, you know, than some of these white people that will just be like, "Oh, you worship the devil." I've never heard that from a black person. Never.
Yeah.
Which is sad. My own race judges me, but all the other races don't.
I don't know. There's so much wrong with this country. And I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, yeah, we're living on stolen land.
Yeah.
Do you get that? Home of the free, land of the brave. No, it's not. Land of the enslaved.
Look at paganism. The part that annoys me about paganism is the fact that Christianity is a stolen fucking concept. You stole it. Straight up. Just stole it and called it Christmas. Okay? Yule came first. Yule came first, and you straight up just fucking stole it. Yuletide blessings, Yule logs, these things all date back to like caveman times. You know, these things all.
The Christmas tree. The Yule tree.
That was a way to bring the Christmas tree was a way for the pagans to bring a tree into their home to protect the woodland sprites and fairies and gods and goddesses of the trees to keep them warm during the winter. That's what that was. That's where the Christmas tree came from. The star at the top, it's a pentacle surprise. You know, it amazes me at the fact that no one can take credit for the fact that the outright plagiarism that has taken place over the past. What the hell are you fucking doing with your hair? The plagiarism that has taken place, at least be like, yeah, I plagiarized, my bad. You know, like they just completely Yule. What the fuck is that? You've never heard of a Yule log? Yuletide blessings. Really? Hello?
I'm going to put this in my ass.
Hey, didn't you get that from that shitty ass fucking store we all talk about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What store was that?
I don't know.
Hold on, let me think. Shit, I can't actually remember the name of it. Do you know it? Don't tell me what it is, but you know what it is. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I remember.
Dragon's Lair?
I am done. I cannot be on camera right
now. Dragon's Lair something. Dragon's Lair something or something. I don't know what it was.
Mystic Dragon's Lair.
Oh, there. Did that come from that place?
Huh?
Did that come from that place?
Yeah. And I have this one from there too.
What the fuck is that?
It's I don't remember.
Oh, it's lava. It's lava stone. Came from a volcano.
God, the cats are running up the stairs 100
miles
a minute.
So, you know, okay, so to rewrap this whole thing up, as far as voodoo and hoodoo is concerned, the things that we talked about in the trailer that we want to talk about is the difference between the two, what they are. Hoodoo is a practice. Voodoo is a religion. Hoodoo is a product of the transatlantic slave trade. Voodoo is not.
Oh, my God.
If you want to incorporate hoodoo into your practice, in my opinion, and I think pretty much in Justin's opinion, all is free to do so. However, you have to do so in a way that you're honoring the roots in which it came from. Cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation. Is it appropriate for those who are not Black or African American, however you want to put it, to practice? In my opinion, yes. However, like I said with the previous question, appreciate and honor where it came from. Do your research, do your reading, watch videos. Like I said, Crescent City Conjurer with St. Elias is one of the best channels I have found so far. There are documentaries on it to help you learn all this stuff.
Yeah.
Can you incorporate into your witchcraft? Absolutely. Should you? Absolutely. But do so with the right kind of means, intent. I don't think that anybody should be, it's not like a special club, but it is a special club if you choose to just kind of wing it. I mean, even with witchcraft, you can't just be like, hey, sir, my ex-boyfriend broke up with me. I need a spell ASAP to make him fall in love with me again. I want him back. It doesn't work that way. If your ex-boyfriend broke up with you because you're probably a psycho. And he doesn't want
He broke up with you because you got fucking whore.
You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing, you know. I'm in subdued up on her spell. It's been going on for 6 months. The spell is still working on my altar. It's been going on for 6 months. And behind the scenes, after the spell, I have been doing the work. And I've talked to Justin about this many times in voice memos, how I'm doing the work. I am going blood, tooth, sweat, and nail to get this whole entire thing done. Beyond just the spell that I did over here. I've done the physical work, but I've employed the ancestors and the gods and goddesses, especially Cernunnos and Gaia, to guide me and help me along and show me, okay, Brittany, you want this? Do that. Okay, those are the things that witchcraft is, and that's what hoodoo is. You know, you can ask the guides, you know, through Grigori, to help you, protect you throughout your days, but you got to feed that motherfucking thing. Give it some rum, some tobacco. You got to feed it. You can't just put the green in your pocket and call it a day. There are things you have to do. It's not just, you know, abracadabra done. It doesn't work that way. And a lot of people think that magic is this thing that's just hocus pocus. Okay, it's done. No, you still got to do the physical work on a physical plane because we live on a physical plane. But you can employ those on the spiritual level to guide you and aid you to make it actually happen. So I think we only had at one point 10 people watching this show, which is astonishing to me because I figured more people would want to learn about this. But at one point we had 10 people and that was it. No, 11 actually at one point. But hey, whatever. That's why it's rewatchable on YouTube, so you can rewatch our wonderful shows.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add, Justin, to this wonderful topic we're going on here?
I mean, not really. I just think people need to, if you're going to go into something like this, you need to just be respectful and understand where people who have ancestors and where this is personal for them, to be respectful and don't be a person.
That even goes with Indian traditions.
I'm gonna pass out. I don't know if they can see this, but we see it. You see it, right? I don't know if they can see that comment. Do you guys see the comment about the toes? I don't know, because of what it says. It may have been like censored. I don't know.
I think it is seen. It has been seen.
I gotta take a picture of that. Hold on. Oh my God, Jesus. I need it. My stomach. Is somebody gay in here? Well, just wait. Another comment's about to come through.
So,
What is the snacklepacker? I need it in my stomach. Is somebody gay in here? What is happening? Yeah. I am so done. So Harris said, I don't know if you guys see this comment or not. Can somebody suck my toes? I'm gay. He then responded, which I'm pretty sure because I'm looking at the chat, you can see this. I need it in my stomach. Is somebody gay in here? Harris, what do you need in your stomach? A cock? Is that what you're talking about? You need a big old cock thrusted up your ass into your intestines? This is the internet, honey. No one is going to penetrate you here tonight. It's time to move on.
Oh my God, I'm going to die.
I need you. Honey, I need $1 million.
Oh, I've never had so much fun with a troll comment in my life.
Hi, I'm from Transgender Land. Okay, I don't know what that is. I know Kazakhstan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How did this?
So hard.
This is the first time we've encountered a situation.
I just put him in timeout.
Okay.
Okay, that was hilarious. I almost peed myself. I'm not gonna lie. So, like I was saying before, Henrik came into, or Harris, or I was going to call him Henrik.
Can anyone suck my toes? I'm gay.
Before he came into the game, India traditions, with following Indian gods, the same thing applies. I mean, you gotta follow, their heritage and their roots and really learn about it before you decide to just go dump into a monkey god or something. You gotta learn what this is. Egyptian, same thing. That shit dates back to the same time era. I mean, you can't just jump in and be like, oh, I want to worship, the Sphinx and shit just because it's cool.
No, exactly. You don't want to be getting into shit and then think you see a monkey crawl across your ceiling. What is happening? Okay, we gotta go. Anybody see my kids in here? I'm hella high. What's happening?
I don't know. Oh.
Angie said, I was wondering what you guys were laughing about. And okay. Fuck me. Daddy, what is happening? Are they not seeing this? Give it to me.
I don't know if they can see it or not. I have no idea.
Hold on, I gotta take another picture.
Okay. Schwartz, Leech, and I'm having fun with these trolls. I'm having fun. This shit's so fucking funny.
We've never been trolled before.
Oh. And the thing is, we only have 7 people in the show. I don't understand how this is even possible.
Well, the thing is, it's going up. Oh. The viewers are going up, and then it drops, and then it goes back up.
Oh, shit.
Fuck me, Big Daddy. Oh, my God.
That was good stuff. Thank you for the entertainment, because I so need it. Because after today, I'm working for 6 days straight. So I need as much laughter as I can possibly get.
So are Harris and Snarts the same?
Probably. It says Schwartz, Lush, Web, blah, blah, was blocked for 5 minutes. So when you put them in timeout, they're blocked for 5 minutes and they can come back and start commenting.
So some other, oh God.
So I don't like to just block people. I usually just give them timeout.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm sure we're gonna get another one with before this is over.
Hilarious.
I mean, you have bigger tits than me. I'm jealous. Literally, did you see that? Mary Linda.
First of all, when I'm like this, you can't even see my tits. So I know my tits ain't the ones they're looking at. It's got to be yours.
I don't have tits, so it ain't me.
Oh shit.
Mary, quite contrary.
How did you
bigger tits than me? I'm jealous.
So,
what are the tags on this video that are making these sex maniacs come
I don't
here?
know, but they're coming in with 5 minutes to spare. Like, you couldn't be here for the whole show. You had to come for the last 5 minutes of it. Kind of weird.
It is kind of weird. Well, we can't leave early now. Do it hard, though.
They're probably do it hard though. They can't spell.
I like your fingers. Can you stick it in my ass? Do it hard.
Most people that they get troll comments like this, usually they block and delete like immediately. You and I sit here and laugh hysterically at them for a good 5 minutes, and then we block them for 5 minutes.
Well, because I think it's entertaining.
Well, I think it's absolutely hysterical. It has nothing to do with hoodoo and voodoo, but it's fucking funny as hell.
Whose fingers does she want up her ass? Yours with the nails? What if one of your nails pops off in her ass?
Yeah, my downsy one. I mean, this they repaired is so thick, it ain't going nowhere. So I can use this to like open boxes and shit. It ain't going anywhere.
Angie said, go back to school and learn how to spell.
Yes, Angie. Yes, girlfriend. That's my girl right there.
You have to pull it out. You have to pull it out then. It's going to be deep.
With a name like Mary, like, seriously, you think you could have something like...
We're up to 11 viewers. Now watch. Now that you've blocked for 5 minutes, watch and see. Watch the number drop. Let's see if it drops.
Oh, shit. I'm out of wine.
We have three. They got 3 minutes to entertain us. You're right. We're ridiculous.
But look. So... I lost my train of thought.
This was a train wreck as soon as it left the station. No, it wasn't. It was a good show. I'm back. the gay one. Oh,
I don't know.
Daddy.
Daddy.
What is okay? Wait, don't block him yet.
Oh,
how did you find this live video? Oh God,
shit, I did. I thought maybe I didn't.
Maybe you just deleted the messages. Oh, you put it on the screen. I need to know how they're finding us. Can they answer that question appropriately?
Probably not. You came to the wrong show if you think you're going to troll people, because we think it's hilarious. You ain't trolling nothing. I was going to block him just because it was fun.
I just found you. How?
Because he has gaydar.
Okay, this is Swartz Linskashowicz.
There's no Shashwish.
Well, you're in luck because this is the first time on live that I will be shoving this crystal up my ass.
Maybe it's all your ass play talk that got them to, tune in.
Maybe. Fuck did I just walk into?
Karen's
Don't
like, what?
block me. You already blocked my other. Okay.
Oh, so
Don't block me. Yeah.
It's all one person.
You already blocked my other accounts. Oh Lord. September Crow. I don't even know where to begin. Ah! Hi, girls. You look sexy. Thank you.
You still look sexy. All right, it is 10:31.
Angie, you look sexy apparently too. Give me that Insta. Yeah, it's time to go. I'm not gay anymore. Angie, return them.
Oh,
The
shit.
fuck did I just walk into? Wow, we've never ended a show like this.
No.
I feel like we went from very serious to just more of us.
So I hope that my hopes are that you were entertained, yes, as always. But I also hope that you learned the difference between hoodoo and voodoo and a little bit about each, and you're curious for more and might check out Crescent City Conjurer. No, he did not pay me to plug him. I just think he's amazing. And add a little bit of hoodoo into your practice. And look into the Hoodoo Tarot. It is an amazing deck and will help you learn as well. It'll help you learn the tarot and hoodoo all at the same time. So definitely check into that. Karen, bitch, you know this shit starts at 9. Don't give me that shit. Do not give me that shit. You know it starts at 9. I expect you, after we end this, for you to go back to the replay and start from the beginning. Okay, bitch? I don't play. So, yeah, we're like 4 minutes past, but I gotta go to work at 5 o'clock in the motherfucking morning.
Wow. It was wonderful being here. Fuck me in the pussy with a wake, Mom.
It was another very, very wonderful, fun Wine and Witchcraft. I love hanging out with you guys. You guys need to jump on the bandwagon and help me encourage Justin to make more videos. I'm trying, but not doing it. Maybe I can stick a rake up his ass. I don't know, but he is not making videos at the plethora that I wish he would. So, bitch, you got called out. So, I miss you guys. I love you guys. And hopefully I'll have a video up soon. I don't have another day off until next Monday. I'm working 6 days straight. So we're going to have Wine and Witchcraft January coming out when we figure out what we're going to do for it here soon. Look out for that. Yeah. Love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us on a Monday night in the middle of your plans and joining us for Wine and Witchcraft in December, Voodoo and Hoodoo.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye guys.